don't wait. It's never too late. And, don't wait till tomorrow or next week. Start now. Do what you love and love what you do.
All right, everybody, welcome to the JeffMara podcast. This podcast is actually live right now on Facebook and Twitch. So if you're listening to this from your car, I'm just letting you know this was pre-recorded. And today we have Helen Fritsch. She is a 62-year-old lifelong competitive athlete, flight attendant, published fitness model, IFBB Bodybuilding Pro, podcaster, certified wine specialist who believes that your age is irrelevant to pursue your goals and dreams and desires. She also has a podcast called Age is Irrelevant, highlighting women over 40, 50, and 60 and beyond who are rebranding and redefining the terms of age is irrelevant and over the hill. Yeah, we don't like those terms. So today we're going to talk about staying fit during the pandemic quarantine. Helen, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Jeff, for having me. It's always a pleasure to catch up with people like you who are interested in fitness during the pandemic.
Yes. You have obviously done a lot in your 62 years. So can you give us some background on how you became a competitive athlete and a bodybuilding pro, as well as at what age did you turn pro?
Thank you. Sure. So growing up, I had a very, very athletic childhood. My parents were both athletes. And my dad was a big track and field star and basketball star in college. And so I have a brother and a sister, and we were out all the time, especially on weekends, running, playing. And we grew up in Europe also too, and didn't have TV over there. So we had to just kind of make up our own games and just do stuff like that. But I was always in awe of my dad. He had a lot of his trophies and medals around the house. And I just kept thinking one day I was aspiring to be like him. And so when I was old enough to start school and start in competitive teams, I jumped on the basketball team right away. I was a cheerleader. I think every girl growing up was a cheerleader at some point or another. And then when I got to high school, I started running track, and I played tennis, and I ran track at the University of Kentucky. So I was just a naturally good athlete. Today, athletes today have so much more nutrition and all kinds of different things available to them for, better performance. Back then we didn't. We just practiced.
Right.
I just think of all the crappy food that we ate back then, and it is what it was. It was what it was. So, but anyway, so I stayed very competitive. After I graduated from college, that was like the jazzercise step aerobics era.
Yeah.
I took in that. And then in the 1990s, I became a certified personal trainer, continuing on. And then finally, I hit 55, and I thought, oh my God, I'm already 55, and 60 is just around the corner. And I decided that I wanted to get into the best shape of my life. And so I started asking around, and people were saying, well, you should look into bodybuilding. Well, wine is my hobby. I'm a certified wine specialist. And so at the time I was working at a wine and chocolate shop. And of course, when you're working at a wine shop, you're going to be drinking wine and eating chocolate every day.
Yeah.
So when I found out that, the wine and chocolate were going to be going away if I started competing, and the diet was so strict, I thought, I just can't do this. And so I just kind of put it on a shelf. But, I'm a firm believer in the universe, and everything happens for a reason. And the universe decided that that was not the route it wanted me to take. And I actually walked into the gym one day to work out with a friend who was a bodybuilding competitor, and she was helping a gal prep for a show. And they both were saying, oh, that her client was like, oh, Helen, do you compete? And I said, no. Oh, you should. And I just had this kind of aha moment. And I thought, you know what, I can do this. And there was a show in a month, which of course today I laugh because you can't get ready for a show in a month. It takes more like 12 to 16 weeks. But anyway, I decided to do the show, and I was 55, or I was 56 at the time, and I entered a bikini contest that was 35 plus, and I came in third.
Wow.
And then I entered a national show and came in third. And so I really enjoyed it. And to physically see the changes in my body at my age was just incredible. And that was so motivating.
Hmm.
So I just continued. And then on my 60th birthday, I won a big national show and I turned pro on my 60th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome. It's interesting within the bodybuilding world because I knew this bodybuilder and he told me you have to win an event. I don't remember if it's in a national event, but the only way you can turn pro is if you win a big event. Is that true?
That's true. You have to win a national show to turn
Yeah.
pro.
And it was for whatever class he was in. I don't want to degrade you any. I'm just saying whatever he was doing, he would tell me it was like
Right.
very difficult.
No, it's that way in all the classes, for
Yeah.
men and women. And especially now, it's just getting harder. I mean, my girlfriends and I are laughing because all of us are over 50, some
Hmm.
of us are over 60, still competing. And we're chuckling, going, thank God we're not back in our 30s. Because when you go to some of these bodybuilding shows, there's 30, 40, 50, contestants in each class, and they go by height and weight and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it's a long, long day, but the competition is fierce. It's really, really fierce. So I feel, so fortunate that I got my pro card, at my age.
Hmm.
And I'm still competing. I'm actually just starting prep for a show in September.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. With my education being a chiropractor, I have, quite a bit of nutrition. And I think actually chiropractors have more education about nutrition than medical doctors. And if you ask most medical doctors, a lot of them get zero training in medical school. But it seems like the people who know the most, or some of the most that know about nutrition, are weightlifters because they know how to bulk up, they know how to lean out, they know how to chisel their body. I mean, and I'm curious if you ever gone to this extreme because I think in talking to someone before at a competition, I think they went to an extreme of like the last 2 or 3 days, they did not even drink water to totally lean out, to be completely ripped. Did you do that same kind of deal?
Yes, it is an extreme sport, and
Yeah.
it's a total mindset slash extreme sport, especially when you're coming down to the end because you have to really fine tune things. And
Hmm.
normally the last it depends on what category you're in. Like for
Hmm.
me, I compete in bikini, so
Right.
we don't have to get as lean as bodybuilders.
Right.
Those bodybuilders have like 6% body fat. We have 10% ish. Some gals get down to 8, but they're super, super lean. That's really, really lean. 10%, I think is probably a good measure there. But anyway, regardless, normally I stop drinking water about 6 o'clock the night before.
Okay.
And then I will only, like, if I have to use the restroom, then I'll replenish by just taking some sips.
Wow.
And you continue that realm until after you get on stage, because you're right. It's all about the body, your muscles. You want to show off your muscles.
Of course.
So, obviously you're trying to dehydrate yourself so that skin basically wraps around that,
Hmm.
muscle belly.
Hmm.
And it works, but it's really, really, it's totally, it's all up
It's a
here.
mind game. What's interesting is I heard an interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was saying, and I can't remember what he would call it. It was just like a psychological game against other competitors. But he had said something like, before the show, we would all be in the gym kind of lifting a little bit to kind of get your muscles bulked up. And he would see dudes and say, oh man, what's going on? Your shoulder looks off today or something. And just giving some guys some like a little bit of doubt.
Oh,
So
that's hilarious.
so a little bit of less, confidence in their performance
Yeah. Oh,
because
that's very, very funny. I haven't heard of that, but that I can see him doing that. And that's, wow, that's psychological warfare right there, right?
right, yeah. I mean, and would you say it is an actual performance when you're on stage?
Well, I mean, we all have routines, so it is a confidence thing. I mean,
Hmm.
for me, the first time I went on stage, I'm up there in a thong bikini and 5-inch
Hmm.
heels,
Hmm.
parading around in front of 500 people,
Right.
and all the lights are on you, and it's so bright and you can't see,
Hmm.
and you don't know what you're doing, and it's nerve wracking. Now it's I don't get nervous at all. I'm used to it. So,
Right.
but yeah, and I've gone out on stage and tripped, or
Wow.
missed a turn or something like that, and you have to keep smiling and just keep on going.
S-
So
do,
yeah, it's all about confidence and having that ability to hold it all together.
What is your mindset like when you're on stage? Do you just totally psych yourself out and just like keep telling yourself, I look amazing. Man, I look so awesome. I mean, I figured I would do that. Like, man, my chest is just ripped, my abs, damn, I look good, and just be posing. Gosh, I look amazing. Is something like that go through your head, or if not, what does?
Well, it does. I mean, you want to present. I mean, you've spent 12 to 16 weeks prepping
Sure.
for literally 60 seconds on the stage.
Yeah.
So you have to make the judges like, wow, that you want to really give off a really great impression. So you have to
Hmm.
come out really confident. You have to smile. You have to act like you own it. So you're exactly right. You have to have this over arrogant kind of attitude, like
Hmm.
you're coming out and you're showing off, like, look at me, and you're exactly right. And that's what they want to see. They
Hmm.
don't want somebody timid coming out there and frowning and kind of acting, shy and coy. You have to really, present yourself.
Is it
And
possible? Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
no, no,
I was going to say, is it possible? Excuse me. Is it possible that you come out there and act too cocky?
uh,
Do you think that they could pick up on that if you just
yeah,
think you're a
well,
total badass or something?
yeah, yes, that is very, very true. I've been in the audience, seen and have watched, some performers, some gals come out there, and I'm just going, no, 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 no. That's just way overboard, way overboard.
Um,
So yeah, you're right. It can be.
and you've got me curious. Besides the obvious, how ripped you are, how cut you are, what other things that you are doing or is the contestant doing to give the judge that wow factor?
Well, that's 12 to 16 weeks of training.
Okay.
And every show is different. I look different at every show. So
Mm,
it all depends on, your training style. Your diet is key.
yeah.
We talked about that like a second ago.
Hmm.
We all have different macros. I'm tall. I'm 5'9", and I have an ectomorph body. I'm tall and lean.
Yeah.
So I have a hard time putting on muscle,
Yes.
especially now being as old as I am.
Hmm.
So, that's tough for me. So my, goal is to get into the gym and, contrary to popular belief, I'm lifting really, really heavy.
Yes.
And, it is helping me put on muscle.
Hmm.
But diet is so, so important. And, as you progress through your training and through your prep, your diet's going to change.
Mm.
So just when you're just first starting prep, like for me, when I first started prep a couple of weeks ago, I definitely have some fat on me. And even within just 2 weeks now, I've already seen a change. So because my diet is like, it's gotten a lot stricter and my calories have been reduced. So,
Hmm.
and that will continue, and then things will fluctuate. That's why I have a coach, because he can have an objective point of view.
Hmm.
um, but it's the whole overall package. It's the color of your suit, it's how your hair is done, it's how your makeup's done,
Hmm.
it's your routine. So it's just a combination. It's a lot, but it's
And no, it really is. Are you doing stuff like, are you doing two a days?
Not yet. No,
Not
I'm
yet.
just working out once a day, and
Hmm.
I have a really high metabolism. I'm lucky about that.
Hmm.
So I normally don't do 2 a days, and if I do a split, it'll just be cardio. It's not going to be weightlifting. So
Right.
I might do some cardio in the morning, and then I might do some again in the afternoon. But being a flight attendant, that's really tough. I'm having to get up super early. I fly overseas too, so I have to pick layovers where I can get workouts in, especially if I'm in prep and I'm bringing all my own food. And of course, now we're not even flying overseas
Yeah.
so, with the
Yeah.
pandemic.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Are you right now, and from what I see, competitive bodybuilders are just guys that just want to get just big and thick. They just eat a ton of protein just to kind of, I guess, trick their body that they have more than enough protein so it'll grow. I think that's the kind of the theory behind it. But are you like that? Like, are you getting up and having, like 6 or 7 eggs for breakfast and then, like chicken breasts for lunch and then another heavy protein for dinner?
I do protein at every meal. I eat
Hmm.
5 times a day,
Five
and
times a day. Okay.
5 times a day. And they're 5 full meals. They're not snacks.
Hmm.
And like for breakfast this morning, I had chicken, sweet potatoes, and green beans.
Okay.
So then I had the same thing, mid-morning meal. And I think it was, I think I substituted, I had rice instead of sweet potato, and then I had Brussels sprouts. And then I had a salad, a chicken salad for lunch. I had a big turkey burger for my dinner. And then I'll probably do a protein shake before I go to bed.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. It's amazing that you don't get fat eating all that stuff. Well, it doesn't sound like you're eating much carbs anyways.
Well, I'm eating carbs 4 out of my 5 meals.
4 out of your 5 meals.
But once again, it all depends on your body type and your metabolism,
Right.
and the goal. I have a lot of people coming to me asking me, they want to lose weight. Well, if you want to lose weight, then you want to do a higher protein, lower carb diet, obviously.
Right.
For me, I'm trying to put on muscle, so carbs are important for me to increase my muscle load. So
Right. A long time ago, I had a lot of acid reflux. And for some reason, someone told me, and I just kind of bought into it, that they thought I had too much yeast in my body. That was the problem. So I just said, okay, I'm cutting out carbs like crazy, and like almost ate zero, just enough, but barely enough. And I dropped weight so fast, it was crazy. I mean, I dropped it was at least 20, somewhere between 20 and 30 pounds. I'm only like around 160 now, but I was down to like 130 something in like a month to 2 months. It was like I lost my wedding ring, kept falling off. I lost it a couple times and luckily found it. It was crazy. And so I know that, and I didn't work out at all. It was weird. I'd stop working out because my stomach, this acid reflux thing was driving me crazy. And it was just amazing that to see me drop all that weight without working out. And I think people don't realize that almost diet is more important than working out for losing weight.
Well, it is. I mean, there's been times when I've been hurt and I haven't been able to train. And as long as I stayed consistent with my diet, I was fine.
Right.
So, and there's a lot of people, in the US who are overweight who, can't work out because they have, weight that prohibits them from running or doing anything like on the treadmill or whatever. So they have to diet down to a specific, weight to start a program in the gym. So yeah, diet's key, and just tweaking little things like taking soda out. A lot of people drink soda. I don't drink soda, but a lot of people, drink soda. So there's just like little things that you can, tweak your diet, and you'd be amazed. People who stopped drinking soda would come to me and say, "Oh my gosh, I've lost 3 pounds, and I just quit drinking soda."
Yeah, so I totally agree with that. All right, I got a question from the audience here. He is asking, can you recommend a meal workout plan for our teenager? He's tall and thin and could use some muscle.
A pre-workout, you said?
Well, he just says this, and we probably should have him clarify it by how old his son is. He says he has a teenager. He's tall and thin, and he's wanting to know if you can recommend a meal/workout plan.
Well, he really has to, for me, I live and breathe by a scale. I weigh all my food. And I think the biggest problem with kids or with adults or whoever want to put on muscle is that they're frustrated that they can't put on muscle because, and they don't know why, but it's because they're not eating enough.
Interesting.
So I weigh everything. And, in order for you to know how much you need, then you have to, get a scale. I mean, if he wants to shoot me a DM, I could probably get some stats about how old his son is and how much he weighs and this, that, whatever. And I can kind of plug it into a program just to kind of give him an idea. But there's tons of, as far as workouts, compound movements like squats, lunges, push-ups, pull-ups, all those basic that covers basically the whole body is really going to help him. And I would suggest doing 3 to 5 sets, anywhere from 12 to 15 reps.
Okay. Hope he got that. He said, oh, this is another, can you, okay, I got another one from a girl, gamer girl. She said, can you have wine and still get in shape, or do you have to cut out all the wine until you reach your goal? That's a great question.
That's a great question, and I'm a certified wine specialist, so you know that I haven't given up my wine. So that's another thing too, is that yes. Now, if you're into competing, the last month or 6 weeks or so, I don't normally drink. I just want it all out of my system. But I have wine at least once a week. I used to drink wine almost every day, and I've cut back dramatically on that, and I really don't miss it that much. But no, yes, you can have wine, and just FYI, the lighter the color of the wine, the less sugar. All wine has sugar. I worked at a vineyard out in Oregon for 2 years as a wine intern, and we would take 20-pound bags of sugar and dump it into the vat because if you take notice, if you look at the alcohol content on these wine bottles, you'll see some wines that have like 16%. It's crazy. And it's because, they're adding sugar, the yeast feeds off the sugar, and then the byproduct is alcohol. So if you see a really high alcohol content wine, it's going to have a lot of sugar in it. And even though it's red wine and it tastes dry, it still has sugar in it. So my advice would be, and it's summertime coming up anyway, so my advice would be, I love rosé, have rosé, have a Chardonnay or something white, Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio, because that's going to be less sugar. And another fun tip, the further away from the equator you are, the crisper and cleaner the wine is and the less sugar.
Interesting.
So if you're not really familiar, if you go to a restaurant and you're looking at a menu and you're like, I don't recognize any of these, but it'll say where the wines are from. So think about where the equator is and think about in reference as to how far away from the equator it is. That's going to be the closer to the equator, the more full-bodied and robust a wine is, and more sugar. And the further away, the cleaner, crisper, and less sugar. So like the Champagne region in France, that's pretty high up. And then your like Pacific Northwest, there's the Chardonnays up over in the Washington region. They'd be great. Pinot Gris. So that's just another little fun tip. But yes, you can still drink wine. I wouldn't be drinking wine every day. I would make it a treat. I would make it a reward and have it, once a week or twice a week until you kind of get to where you want to be. I mean, the goal to lose weight is to, reduce.
Right.
So.
Do you have a cheat day?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So maybe you can have the wine on your cheat day.
And I do. I like right now, I have Saturday is my extra carb day. Yeah. So I found this, phenomenal gluten-free vegan bakery not too far from me. So I'll run down there and pick up like a fun treat. And then I'll have, I had a nice big glass of red wine with that to wash it down. So yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to enjoy life. It's like, I don't get paid to do this. It's for me, it's fun and it's a hobby, but I still have a life. So yes, I'm going to still enjoy the things that I love.
That's great. All right, let's give the people what they came here for, because I could even just talk about wine with you all day, and I might have to bring you back just for a wine podcast. But let's get this. Let's tell or give the audience some workout tips, or maybe some workout strategies, or actually just some workout exercises. If you're stuck at home or in your apartment, what do you recommend to do?
Well, there's a bunch of stuff. I wrote down several tips that, being stuck here in quarantine. So I'm going to go through my little list here. So if I'm looking away, that's why.
That's okay.
But first and foremost, I mean, this whole coronavirus pandemic thing, it's really a mindset issue. And I think in order to succeed through this time, you have to take it one day at a time. I can't worry about what's going to happen in a month or 6 months down the road. I mean, everybody's worried about, well, is school going to open? Well, is this going to happen? And when we'll be able to go back to this? I miss going to concerts. I want to go on a cruise, things like that. You can't worry about that right now. Worry about today. Don't worry about, further down the road. Mindset is key. Second is as far as exercise goes. So there's a ton of online guided workouts. For me, I had jumped on YouTube, and then I had found a ton of those. There's just a plethora of YouTube workouts, and there's all different styles too. And there's workouts that last 5 minutes. There's workouts that last an hour. Fitnessblender.com is a great website. They have a really nice variety of workouts, anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour and a half. And they do all different types of workouts. And Jeff, you and I were talking earlier how we both love Tabata.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really, really fun, but kind of intense type of exercise where you'll go through one exercise 8 times, 20 seconds on, 10-second rest. So that's very, very fast paced. And that's what I like about it. So, that's an option there too. But I would highly recommend going to YouTube. And if you're a member of a gym now, all these gyms are having like live Zooms. Or if you go onto Instagram, so many of the fitness magazines are doing live broadcasts of 15-minute, 30-minute workouts. So, you really, really want to get on that bandwagon. And also, too, doing stuff like that, and as far as the mindset thing goes, is that you don't want your mind to get stagnant and turn into a bunch of mush. Like, for example, I took my TRX certification. I got certified as a TRX coach. I did that 2 weeks ago.
Great.
Right now, I am prepping for I signed up for a nutrition certification course. I took a mindset coaching class. So it's just like there's so many things online, classes that you can learn if you want to learn a language. I just think that's really, really smart not to let your mind go off the wayside. This is a perfect opportunity to, learn something new. And especially with you and your kids, it would be kind of fun to learn a new language with your family. If you could sit down and do like basic beginner, Spanish or whatever. As far as working out at your house too, a lot of us don't have weights. I was lucky and I had 5 up to 20-pound weights, but then that's it. And I like to lift heavier than that. But I've done a couple of videos where I'm using soup cans and I'm using water bottles and I'm using books and, things, whatever I can find. I did a garage workout where I was using a broom and a step ladder. So, there's different creative things that you can do out there. And if you just find something and do 3 to 5 different sets, 15 to 20 reps, you can follow along with somebody that's guided onto YouTube. You really have to be mindful about your diet. A lot of us are eating a lot of comfort food now, and we're home and we're bored. And my advice for that is I don't bring it into the house. So if you don't bring it into the house, you're not going to be tempted to eat it, because as the day progresses, our willpower goes down.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if it's not here, it's not going to happen. So for people to be like, oh, I'm eating all this food, I'm like, well, who's bringing in the food? I mean, are you bringing in the food? Because if you are, then, just stop going down that aisle.
Yeah.
And then also to get outside. I mean, I'm sure everybody has seen, I just saw a story on the news today about you can't find a bicycle anywhere. Everybody's, sold out of bikes. I've seen more people walking with their families, with their dogs, riding bikes than I ever have. Well, I've been in this neighborhood 20 years. I've never seen so many people out. But it's, it's springtime. It's beautiful. So definitely, I highly recommend getting outside, getting some exercises. There's tons of greenways in different cities. You can go rollerblading. You can, do all kinds of things like that. And also, too, if you start a new exercise program or you want to start something new or you have a new hobby, I highly recommend you finding someone to hold you accountable. I know I do.
I like that.
There's times when I go to the gym that I don't want to be there. But if I have somebody meet me there, or if I'm, not feeling right, I'll give somebody a call and they're like, you need to get your butt to the gym and, blah, blah, blah. So, find like-minded people, find that community, find that tribe that will help you, stay accountable. And that to me, I think is key. And then there's different things like I saw on here too, that, like if you like to dance, there's dance videos on YouTube. You don't have to work out. You can just go onto YouTube and pull up a dance video and just dance along. And that would be something fun to do with your family also. The whole thing is, stay active, just because, you're stuck and you feel, kind of enclosed and complacent. And then as far as a little weightlifting routine, I wrote something up really, really quickly here. And this is like, this will cover the whole body. So you could do a 30-second plank. followed up with 10 squats,
Okay.
followed up with 20 lunges, followed up by 10 push-ups, and then finishing up with 20 sit-ups. Really, really simple. You can run through that 2 or 3 times, but that's going to cover pretty much every body part that you're dealing with. So something to get the heart rate going.
That's great. That's great advice. Thank you so much. You had mentioned to me, and I hope I think you're fine with discussing it, that you are also, I guess you would say, a cancer survivor, or it's in remission, or?
No, it's not in remission. I
Uh,
still have it.
oh, wow.
Yeah, about 5 years ago, I went in for a annual physical.
Hmm.
I felt fine, felt great. And the doctor's office called me and said that my blood work came back bad and I had to go back.
Wow.
So I went back. I was irritated and frustrated, thinking that I was fine and there was nothing wrong with me and it was their fault. And so I did the test again and it came back bad again. So then they sent me to a hematologist who just happened to be an oncologist.
Hmm.
And I unfortunately found out that I have leukemia.
Wow.
So lucky for me, there's 2 types, acute and chronic, and I have the chronic, which is a very, very slow growing cancer. So it is a cancer of the blood and bone marrow. So, for me, my liver is extremely important to me. So that's why my diet is so important to me, because everything goes through the liver, and I just want my liver, functioning on top of things. I don't want it to have to worry about all this crap going through there, because
Yeah.
it's just not good for me. But I would never know that I have it. I don't feel sick. I have not done any treatments. I have not been through any chemotherapy. I've not been on any medication. And I really attribute it to my healthy lifestyle and working out. I live and breathe by a chiropractor.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going actually this week. I go to a homeopath. I do acupuncture. And then, mindset is everything. I mean, I'm not playing the victim martyr, person that I see out there. I just say that it's just part of me and it's just another layer. So it is what it is. I normally don't really talk about it. I mean, it's not a secret. If people want to talk about it, I'll be more than happy to talk about it, because I think I'm living proof that you can still succeed and do things that you want to do and go places. And this is just something that God has decided that He's bestowed this upon me too. And I'm thinking, so far I'm wearing it well.
Yeah, I think you're handling it amazing. I mean, it's almost an inspiration to people,
Well, thank you.
There's so many questions, actually. Let's see. Do you watch any of the people on YouTube? And someone's asking about if you like the guy from Athlean X. Have you heard of that
Love
guy?
him. Jeff Cavalier, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, great. I should check him out.
Yeah, I do. I subscribe to Ashley Next. Yeah, that's a great, great website. Yeah,
And what does he do? Is he a bodybuilder or just kind of all around fitness?
he's a coach, but his workouts are no nonsense.
Wow.
They're tough. He is a walking advertisement. He looks amazing.
Oh, wow.
He's very, very knowledgeable, and his workouts are great. So highly recommend that. Yes, one of my top favorites.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. What kind of cardio / weightlifting balance do you recommend who has a lot of weight to lose, wants to tone, but no bodybuilder status?
Okay. Don't worry about the bodybuilder status at all. My suggestion would be, definitely, you have to probably do cardio 5 to 6 days a week. I'd say at least 30 minutes. So I'm not really sure exactly what your, status is or how much you weigh. But you definitely want to get your heart rate up. So you don't want to just be taking a leisurely stroll. You really have to try to get your heart rate up. And if you don't have any cardio equipment at home and your only option is to go outside and walk, well, then you'll walk at a brisk pace. And if you can't keep that up, that's fine. It's just kind of like do your own little interval training. You can walk fast for 50 yards and then, slow down for 50 yards and just kind of do like an interval training, walking session. So the goal is to raise the heart rate because you want to burn calories.
Right. Have you heard of the Peak 8 exercise?
Peak 8?
Yes.
No.
So that's what I kind of switched to for my cardio. And what it is you do, as much as intense cardio as you can for 90 seconds, and then you walk for 30 seconds, and you do it 8 times. And the research shows that you will get more out of that than jogging for 30 minutes.
No, I agree with that. I'm a huge person. I love HIIT, which is high intensity
Mm-hmm.
interval training. I
Mm-hmm.
do that 3 times a week, usually 20 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I agree. It's along the same lines. So
Yeah.
it's, you're doing something really, really intense, and then you're bringing it down, and then you're shooting back up, and you're bringing it down. So I agree 100%. Yep. That's the way to do it.
Right. And the way I would do it, because I'm naturally a little lazy, is I would just run up a hill. So that way, you're not, it's hard for you to just run as fast as you can. No. But if you're running uphill, you're still got that resistance. And then
Well,
walk down the hill.
I think that's great. I wish I had hills here to run, because when I ran cross country back when I was in school. Running hills was huge, and I could really, and also running hills is great. It's great for your butt.
Oh, well, there you go, ladies. And I guess guys too, if you want to work on that. Do you have any advice for women over 50 that are just getting into exercising?
Yes. Don't be afraid. I think that's everybody's biggest fear, is walking into that gym. People are intimidated because they don't really know what they're doing. And, I started a podcast called Age is Irrelevant, and I interview women over 40, 50, 60 and beyond who have done amazing things. They've transformed their bodies. They're so motivational and inspirational. And they all started somewhere. I interviewed one woman who was born and raised in New Orleans. So she said that she had this quote unquote New Orleans mentality, and she smoked and drank and did drugs, and she was morbidly obese.
Wow.
And then she said that finally the defining moment was she was trying to get onto a boat, just to take a ride, and she couldn't get on the boat. And she was just like, I am done with this. And so she ended up, stopped smoking, stopped drinking, and started exercising. And she had a daughter that she took to swimming lessons, and she kept thinking, she liked the water. And so she talked to the swimming coach, and she ended up getting in the water and learning how to swim. And today she's 77 years old, and she's ranked internationally 6th.
Wow, that's amazing.
In her age group. Yes.
Wow.
It's crazy. So it's all about really, really, it's never too late to start something new. Age truly is irrelevant. Age is just a number. All those cliches, they're all true.
Right.
But it all, once again, starts up here. And it's like, you don't want to go to your grave saying shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Right.
I know I don't want to. I don't want that on my tombstone. I have a bucket list, and I'm going to go all the places where I want to go, and I'm going to do all the things I want to do, because life is short. And how quick this pandemic came on. Well, something horrific could happen to you or I tomorrow. We never know. So you have to decide. Everybody has passions. Everybody has joys. Everybody dreams of doing something. Make it happen. There's a group out there for everybody, regardless of what your hobby might be, art, sewing, working out, whatever. There's a group out there. And especially now, even on Facebook and on social media, you type in something, or you type something in like that in YouTube, or you go to podcast app and type in your hobby. There'll be a ton of things, and subjects on that. So, and that's just a matter of, getting into that group and having people help you. When I first started, bodybuilding, I was literally a rat in a maze. I didn't know what I was doing. I just kept hitting, I just kept running into walls because I thought I was eating right, but I wasn't, and I thought I was doing all this right, and I wasn't. So you have to learn. It's just like anything else. So don't let your age hinder you, and, find a group, find friends or a community that will hold you accountable, surround yourself with like-minded people. That's what's really important. And then, next thing you know, you're going to be, in like Flint.
Yeah. It's funny is about 15 years ago, I used to go to this gym, and it was like a dirty man's gym. There was not a pool. There was not, there weren't aerobics. Most of the people there were big, and I think even Mr. Texas worked out there and just a lot of huge people there. And I remember the first day I joined, it was very inexpensive. It was hot as hell in the place. I mean, I don't think they had AC. It was like they turned a warehouse into a gym, and they just had big giant fans rolling through there. But the very first day I joined, one of the guys said, "Okay, congratulations, you're in a gym, not a fitness center."
That's right.
And the other thing was, even though everybody was huge, I mean, big bodies like Schwarzenegger style, everybody there was super cool because I'm assuming that if they knew you were there to actually work out, not just like hang
True.
out. So everybody was really, really nice to you there. And so you would think you would be intimidated, but it wasn't really.
Yeah, I love those kind of gyms now.
Yeah.
And for me, I'll walk in to the gym if it's me and 20 guys. That's great.
Hmm.
I just jump right in. I don't have any problems about that at all. But once again, it's all about not knowing what you're doing. If you go into a gym and you don't know, then that's why they have trainers there. That's why they have people to walk you through the machines once, just so you can familiarize yourself with that. So take advantage of that. If you do belong to a gym, take advantage of that. I know that I have taken advantage of all that, and I still have trainers, and I still have coaches, and I still want to work out with people that'll kick my butt. So
Yeah.
that's the way you're going to get better.
Right. I remember one time for a while, what I did try is I was taking boxing lessons. And
That's
you
awesome
can't
too.
imagine how much that just like blows you out. I mean, just you with heavy gloves and a bag for 5 minutes and you're just like exhausted. I have so
Exhausted.
much respect for boxers after doing that. That's not even fighting anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, much less when you're fighting anybody. Gosh, that's got to be, 10 times worse.
I agree.
I mean, but it wasn't like cardio kickboxing. I mean, this was more like real boxing training, and it was like really an ass kicker. It was crazy.
Right.
Now let me ask you this. I heard this research, and I've been really wanting to try it, and hopefully as soon as my gym opens, I want to try it. But have you heard of working out with your minimum effective dose? And what I mean by that is a lot of medications they have they can obviously when they give you a pill, they know how many milligrams they're going to give you. And the minimum effective dose is okay, if you take like 5 milligrams of this is the effective dose to solve your problem. You could take 20, but all you need is 5 because that's the minimum effective dose.
Hmm.
Well, there's research that's done that says that if you are weight training, that all you need to do is a minimum. If you're going to be building muscle, let's just say if I want to do bench for say, and I'm building this muscle, anything over the minimum effective dose is overkill and it's not going to help you get any bigger. So they said that if you do 90, let's say if you do 90 seconds of nonstop contractions, you just do 90 seconds nonstop, and you have to be, if you can see my arms, there's points that when you're doing bench you can lock out and you're resting, right? Or if you
Hmm.
come down low enough, so you can never be at a point where you're resting, you're always in constant contraction. If you do that 90 seconds, that is enough for that one exercise, and then you move on because you're not going to get any bigger after that. I'm sure that most competitive bodybuilders are going to say no way because dudes are doing, 3 sets of 20 or 3 sets of 10, or then they're pyramiding or supersetting or whatever. But do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you. And there's all different types, just like you were mentioning. Pyramiding, supersetting, giant sets. But if you think about it, Tabata is a form of that, but it's a lot shorter. So, for me, if I'm doing Tabata for 20 seconds, I might be doing 10 or 12 reps of something.
Hmm.
But for 90 seconds, you're going to be doing probably 30 or 40 or possibly 50 reps, depending on, the speed.
Yes.
So if I go into the gym, like I was at the gym today, and I was doing 4 sets of 15, that's, 60.
Hmm.
So you could be getting in 60 reps in that 90 seconds.
Right.
So it's all about volume. So, I agree with that. Although,
Hmm.
a lot of bodybuilders will only do 6 to 8, but then they're pushing massive weight.
Yes.
So I think that is effective. I mean, if you're doing something for 90 seconds,
Right.
and you have to be doing it with a weight that's challenging too.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I think I would, I would first just to see what can I do for 90 seconds and then
yeah,
and then hopefully the next time I can go a little heavier.
right.
But I have an uncle that was a bodybuilder. I don't know if he was a competitive bodybuilder, but I think at a certain age in his life, and it may or may not be related to, but he had developed arthritis. And I wonder if a lot of, bodybuilders just who do it for 10, 20, 30 years, just all that wear and tear on their joints over the long run. And I still tell people, like, if you were my chiropractic patients and you were a hardcore bodybuilder and you always had back pain, I would just say, look, cleaning, you just got to take it easy on clean and jerks and squats because the body can only handle so much, and we're humans and we have thumbs, so we can create tools not to lift 500 pounds. Right.
You're right. Whenever I go to my chiropractor,
Mhm.
I'm always like my back and my hips. It's
Yeah.
just because you are lifting heavy, doing squats and deadlifts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So, all right, let's
yeah.
see if we have any more questions here. Anything else interesting? Not yet. All right, so let me go to my personal questions. Do you have any advice on staying on track? Like once you've been working out for a while, I remember you said being held accountable. And I also believe that I think there's a saying or a statistic that if you do something, once you do something 21 times, it becomes a habit.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh,
Yep.
hmm
And that's what it really, really is. It's just you you just develop a habit. I mean, I know everything that I'm doing now. It's just habit. My whole lifestyle has changed dramatically in the last. I've been competing since I was 56, so it's really almost 7 years. So I'll be 63 in July. So it's habit now. I mean, before that, I would come home from work and have a glass of wine every day, and I'd go out with friends and we'd polish off a couple of bottles of wine, and now all of a sudden I don't drink it all during the week, and I'll have a one or two glasses of wine maybe on the weekend with my cheat meal.
hmm
Um, Other than that, no, you're right. It's all about habit. So you continuously do something over and over, it's going to become a habit. So the goal is to you know bring things into your life that benefit your life, so
hmm
you can develop those into good habits versus bad habits.
Right.
But
Would you agree with this that whatever you do is basically a lifestyle, almost even more than a habit? Like if you're a bodybuilder,
it's a total
it's
lifestyle.
a lifestyle, and you don't have to be a lifestyle of being a competitive bodybuilder, but just a lifestyle of being in shape. That's just the you can't really just say I'm going to go work out and be in shape. You just have to say it. That's the life that I live. Is kind of, I guess, what I'm trying to get at.
That is the life that I live now, because I mean, I normally will only do maybe 2 shows a year.
Mhm.
So, I'm training for those shows, but once those shows are over, like my last show was back in August, and then I had off the entire fall, which was Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And of course I'm enjoying the parties and I'm eating pumpkin pie and
Mhm.
all the chocolate and this and that, whatever, but I'm still working out, and
Mhm.
I'm still eating my 5 to 6 meals a day. I'm still weighing all my food.
Mhm.
So I know that I can, afford to have some fun, but I'm still getting all my cardio in and stuff like that. So it's a total lifestyle, and it's not. I don't think I'll ever change.
Mhm.
Just kind of ingrained.
So even when you're not competing, you're still always doing 5 to 6 meals a day.
Hmm.
And are you the type that you have a high metabolism,
Yes.
so it's easy for you to still kind of burn that off?
Well, it is. And I mean, you put on more muscle, the more muscle you put on, the higher your metabolism, will become. And so
Yeah.
that's a good goal to set too, just because obviously, I mean, for me, it's a blessing and a curse,
hmm
because I have to make sure I eat, because I don't want to lose any weight.
Right. Right.
I'm tall and thin enough as it is. So
Right. Right. That's amazing that you can just. I mean, I wish I was kind of like that. I have to work at it a little bit just to kind of make sure that my clothes don't get too tight.
well, I have to work at it now too. I mean,
Yeah.
I think when we were younger, I was like a toothpick in school.
hmm
And I mean, my metabolism is still high, but I do have to work. I still have to work on it. I would like to eat a lot more, but I don't.
I was thinking about earlier is that the picture that's on my podcast, if people want to see that, introducing Helen. In that picture, I mean, you look like you have like 5% body fat, and I think you're saying that you have 10. I mean, there's like almost zero fat that looks like on your body at all.
Yeah, that was probably, I'm guessing probably 8%,
8.
probably.
It looks amazing.
Thank you.
All right. So if people want to, find out more about you, what's the best way to get in touch with you or find out more about you? Like, do you have websites or?
I do. You can reach me at ageisilrelevant.com.
Hmm.
That's my website.
Okay.
And then my email there is Helen at ageisilrelevant.com. And then I'm on social media, Facebook at Helen Fritsch. It's FRITSCH.
Hmm.
And then on Instagram, it's Helen Fritsch _ IFBB Pro.
Okay. And then you said you do have a podcast as well. And what was that called again?
And I do. And it's called Age is Irrelevant. And you can find that on iTunes.
All right. Great.
If you don't have an iPhone, it's, I think, Google Play also.
Google Play. Age is irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. All right. We got another question coming in here. What is the minimum workout you advise for lazy people?
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. That's great. Oh my gosh. Oh, geez. It depends on your goal. I mean, if you just want to kind of stay in shape, 3 times a week, I mean, honestly, that's probably good for everybody. And when I say 3 times a week, it's not that you have to go to the gym and work out for 2 hours. 3 times a week, just to get out there and move, walk for half an hour if you don't have access to weights or something like that. But, you have one body and you need to honor that.
Mhm.
So, the older you get, we all are very, very visible. I mean, we all see, older people and walkers and wheelchairs. And,
Mhm.
I personally don't want to be like that. Being a
Yeah.
flight attendant, I'll have
Mhm.
these older couples come on and they pull out their gallon baggies full of pills and
Wow.
they need water to take their, and I'm like, not doing that. So,
Right.
my whole philosophy is, people ask me what my secret is, or, how do you stay in such great shape? It's classic textbook.
Yeah.
It's eat right, exercise, get enough sleep. Sleep is huge. I
Mhm.
drink a gallon of water a day. I stay out of the sun. I don't smoke. I do alcohol in moderation. It's classic textbook. And part of that is moving. So depending on where you live or what kind of access you have to, equipment,
Mhm.
if you are lazy and you're just a weekend warrior, well then, give it your best shot and get out there and walk for an hour, walk a couple miles. But honor your body because it's the only one that you have, and you want to live a nice, long, healthy, fun life. I know I do.
Yeah, I totally agree with it. I used to always think, and it's not just with chiropractic. I mean, you don't have to do chiropractic. You could do yoga or something. But I always feel like the more flexible you are in your body, the healthier you're going to be. And it appears as you grow towards death, your body is less flexible. You're more locked up. You're becoming towards rigor mortis, right? So
Right.
you've got to keep motion. So for people out there, you've got to do something to keep flexibility. You've got to at least work out your heart some, get it pumping. If you could get at least a couple times a week, I would think at least get it pumping really hard. I mean, that's why I like that running up the hill. If I could a couple times just run when I get to the top hill, I could really feel my heart pounding.
Right.
Then I know I did some good. Got some blood circulation. Hopefully that'll prevent a little what is that? Alzheimer's disease or something. If you can get that blood just cranking through your brain, maybe that'll help give you some long lasting in your brain. And
Right. Right. No, and it's kind of funny you mentioned yoga and Pilates, just because I
mhm.
think that whole thing there with stretching, not only are you, increasing your flexibility and toning, but that's also more of a mindset also too, to kind of, bring you down and calm that inner calm
Mhm.
because of all the craziness going on outside here. So,
Yeah, it's our stressful times. All right. Do you have any projects that you're working on right now that you want people to know about?
not really. Well, before the pandemic, I was actually getting ready to start hosting ages irrelevant retreats
Hmm.
geared towards women over 50. And we were going to be hosting out in Utah, this beautiful resort.
Wow.
And and have women, come and bond and join in, and, puts them through some things to kind of take them out of their comfort zone. I mean, I am where I am today because I took myself out of the comfort zone, and I took that leap of faith and did things that I've never done before. And I think that's what a lot of women are afraid of. I think they, want to go places, do things, look better, but they don't know how, they don't know where to start. They don't know where to begin. They don't know who to contact. So that's why I started my podcast, just to make women aware that, you're not alone, and that it's never too late to start that new hobby or follow that new passion. And there's something out there for everybody.
Let me ask you this. I just thought of this before I wrap it up, and I'm sure this is a lot of on especially women's minds, or maybe a fear of theirs, is that probably a lot of women think that if they become, a bodybuilder or lift weights, they're going to become more masculine looking, and that's why they would only want to really stick to like aerobics or dancing workouts because they're going to lose their femininity. So, and I don't believe that's true unless you're going to just, you're not going to become masculine unless you're like, taking roids or something, but
That's
just
true.
basic workout. Can
You're
you
100%
back me on that?
Yeah, I could back you up 1,000%.
Yeah.
I'm lifting the heaviest. I'm stronger now than I've ever been in my whole life, and I'm lifting super heavy. And lifting heavy is relative. Lifting heavy to somebody else might be 10 pounds. Lifting heavy for me is 50. So it's all relative to what you're used to and how strong you are. But no, and a lot of it is genetics too. So unless you're on steroids, you're not going to be, bulking up and getting all crazy. You're going to be, the only way to physically change your body is lifting. I see a lot of people out there who run, and I think that's amazing. And I ran for years and years and years. And that's great for your cardiovascular health. But if you want to physically change your appearance, you have to lift. You have to lift weights. You have to do some type of weight bearing exercise.
Right. All right.
Muscles. So, but I wouldn't worry about that. You're never going to be overloaded in muscles and look masculine. I'm not. So
That's great. All right. I'm sure a lot of women want to know this. They're probably afraid to ask, but what is the best workouts for butts and abs?
Oh, yeah. Well, for abs, the best thing for your abs is to start in the kitchen.
Yes, I was going to say that.
That's a cliche. Abs are made in the kitchen. We all have abs, and we all have abs like line definition abs.
Right.
But a lot of us have a little padding to cover up those abs, and so you have to start in the kitchen, and you have to cut out that processed food, the sugar, all the crazy alcohol, all the extra, fat. My philosophy is that if I look on a package at the store and it has more than 5 ingredients, I'm not going to eat it. So abs start in the kitchen. But some good ab exercises are, the crunches are okay, but planks I think are phenomenal. You can do a bunch of different variations of planks. There's mountain climbers also too that will work your obliques. You can sit back and do those Russian twists where you're kind of twisting your body back and forth like this. There's something called the bicycle where you're laying flat on your back and then you're bringing your like one elbow to an opposite knee. And then you said besides abs, what else?
And butt.
And butt. Oh yeah, the butt. Okay,
yeah.
So squats and lunges and deadlifts, step ups. Step ups are really, really good. And then probably hip thrusts where you're like laying up, you have your shoulders up on a bench and you're kind of in like a tabletop position and you're just lowering your butt and then you're forcing your butt to come up and you're really tightening your glutes. So there's all different types of variations. But yeah, I mean, in my competing for in bikini, it's all about the butt. And I have to say at 62, my butt's never looked better.
Oh, that's great. Especially if you're saying that not only a bikini, but I thought you said you were in a thong bikini.
Thong bikini.
Wow.
Yeah. So, want to hear something really funny? Is that I was going on vacation and I got out my bathing suits and I'm looking at them. I'm like going, oh my, I have to buy a new suit. This has too much coverage.
Oh, wow.
I just was cracking up going, oh my God, that's so funny. But anyway.
All right. Well, before we wrap it up, do you have one last message that you would like to leave with the audience?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I love
Likewise.
talking about, fitness. I'm here to help. If anybody wants to shoot me a DM or something, I'll be more than happy to share my knowledge and advice. But, my whole mantra about this, age is irrelevant. I just can't stress that enough, that, don't wait. It's never too late. And, don't wait till tomorrow or next week. Start now. Do what you love and love what you do. And I can't stress that. I can't stress that enough. So,
That's great advice.
life is short.
That is so true. That is so very true. Helen, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you for giving me this time, or giving me some of your time, actually. I wish you the best. I hope you win your next event.
Thank you. I hope so too.
And I hope we stay in touch, because like I said before, I'd love to do another podcast with you about wine, because I don't know very much at all. And just hearing what you said about just the sugar content was amazing for me.
Well, that would be fun. And we could actually, you could, throw this on your Facebook page or something, and we could pick a wine, and then everybody else can join in, and then we can kind of do like a virtual Zoom wine tasting class or something.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I totally agree. That would be, I was going to say something like that. Like, yeah, maybe we could we could do that. Or maybe, I guess we have to have 2 or 3, maybe, right? Or no? Would one be enough to have a class? Or maybe we'd need like one white, one red, and
Yeah, sure.
and one, I don't know. See, I'm not sure. You have the rosés, you have the cabernets.
I know. I love it all.
You love it all. Let me make sure I don't have one last question here. The big Chili Chill, who's been giving me some questions, he said, "Great job, and thanks for being here."
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for listening.
All right. Well, have a wonderful evening, and take care, and God bless.
All right. You too. Thanks, Jeff.